Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching the first Purge. The movie called The First Purge, not the first Purge movie. Now, the Purge movies have a little bit of an interesting history when it comes to their quality, as the first Purge movie came out in 2013, and I really didn't like it very much, as I considered it an incredibly pretentious and poorly done home invasion film that wasted a really, really good premise that, one night a year, all crime being legal. So, for them to waste it in such a generic fashion really was disappointing. Thankfully, the sequels, The Purge Anarchy and Purge Election Year, amped up the social commentary and the scope of the films, and in doing so, became much more enjoyable and much more thought-provoking. So the first Purge acts as a prequel to the entire series, basically revolving around the formation of the new Founding Fathers and their proposal to make the Purge by focusing on it affecting one community in Staten Island, New York. So, basically, it follows a group of characters as they try to survive the 12-hour period, and it shows how this whole Purge thing got started. And as an origin story movie, it's okay. Yeah, I consider The Purge Anarchy and Purge Election Year to be fairly good, and the first Purge movie to be an absolute failure. This one is just okay. The main reason being that the characters in this film, while they do have arcs, and there is a decent amount of good messages in the film, it just feels like some characters end up being rather hollow, particularly the main ones. But what does the film do right? The film does have some really intense action scenes that really get you into the suspense and dread of the whole experience. There are often scenes of characters walking around in darkness, scenes where people could pop out and try and kill them at any moment, and there are often scenes where you see other people interacting with the Purge in their own ways. Some throw parties, some set explosive traps, and others just kill anyone they can see. And while there are a decent amount of psychopaths and people who just do the Purge for the sake of money, there also are people who fight off against the Purge, and the dynamics between the anti-Purge people and the people who are for the Purge are rather interesting, considering they do mirror a lot of the climate of our world today. Now, it should be stated that the whole concept of the Purge is for the sake of social satire, considering that I can think of a million other crimes that people do in an actual real-life version of the Purge that don't involve murder. But as the basis for an action movie like this, it does happen to do that well, and the prequel does amp up the blood, it does amp up the violence, but there's also some moments of true suspension of disbelief that's needed in the finale. I won't spoil it, but needless to say, the finale requires a lot of suspension of disbelief to believe, and you'll come out at the end saying there is no possible way they would survive that. In a way that sort of hurts the realism that they were trying to go for the series. I know how odd that is, considering some of the films have gotten pretty creative and pretty dynamic with their with the killing scenes, but this one is particularly really over the top. I know that this film has a different director than the others, but it doesn't really feel like it, considering the guy who directed the first three films also wrote this film. There is a good sense of community within the people in this movie, and there is an announcement for at the end for something interesting coming up that I won't spoil. But in the end, it's sort of just another Purge movie. It works as a prequel, and it works if you want to get your fix of the Purge, but not a whole lot besides that. So I'll give the first Purge a 6 out of 10. See you next time.